Today we'll be talking about Kapla. The topic we'll be investigating today is tower stacking. How can we stack wooden blocks to make a tall tower? Today, the main thing you'll be doing is using your wooden blocks to stack your tower as tall as you can. Afterward, you'll be measuring the height of your tower using a ruler. The dimensions of a Kapla, which means wooden planks or magic boards, this is derived from Dutch, are 120 millimeters in length, 24 millimeters in width, and 8 millimeters in height. So how can we stack Kapla blocks without them falling over? Well, the most important thing to maintain is the balance of forces. When stacking Kapla, if these colored areas have the same surface area, the center of gravity becomes the same, achieving a balance of forces. When we're placing two blocks on top of one another, that means this colored area, or the area outside of the first block that is also within the second block, is the same. The two Kapla blocks will have the same center of gravity. And here we represented the center of gravity using this red dot. This lets us stack a spiral staircase like the one shown in the dynamic tower in the previous slide in the most stable way. So what is the center of gravity? Placing objects at the same center of gravity allows stable stacking to a greater height. We learned that in the previous slide. But what is the center of gravity, and why are we able to stack Kapla without them falling over if we place these Kapla blocks at the same center of gravity? The stacking method that uses the center of gravity enables the most stable stacking. And the definition for the center of gravity is the point where an object's weight is evenly balanced in any direction. First, as long as the center of gravity of the second Kapla block stays on the first Kapla block, the balance is maintained. However, if the center of gravity of the Kapla block on top of the other Kapla block moves away from the bottom Kapla block, it tilts to the right, as you can see in the image. Next, when placing the Kapla block number 3, this one on the left, the center of gravity moves to the boundary between Kapla block 2 and Kapla block 3. Finally, placing the fourth Kapla block on top of Kapla block 2 and Kapla block 3 results in increased stability due to the weight of Kapla block 4. And as always, the center of gravity in these images is shown using the dashed pink line. The main point that we have to keep in mind for building Kapla blocks with stability is the dispersion of forces. In other words, the distribution of forces, balance. When building a cylindrical tower with Kapla, the more layers of Kapla that are placed, the more the downward pressure from the top is distributed. This means that even if one Kapla block is removed from the middle, the structure remains sturdy and doesn't fall over. The materials used for this Kapla activity are 30 Kapla blocks, as well as rulers to measure the height and the length. Thank you for listening.